Hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome again today to our Training Transfer Effectiveness series. Today is Thursday, February 19, 2026. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Welcome. Welcome again. So glad you are here. Welcome. So glad you are here. Wherever you're joining in from, we are glad to have you. So let's start the introductions. Please just type in chat box where you're joining in from. So introduction goes this way. So you tell us where you're joining in from and the role. Either you're working in an organization, your role in that organization, or you're an entrepreneur. You can tell us what you do as an entrepreneur. Then you could also, if you're joining for the first time, just let us know. First timer. I know that Nancy, this is not her first time. Nancy has joined us like two webinars now, if I'm not mistaken. So please introduce yourselves and I would read it as I see your introduction. I'll read it if I see your introduction. Just introduce yourself. So this is me. I will not introduce myself because if I'm not seeing anybody, so meaning that every other person here is a new is an old bee. So this is just a bit about myself. So I'll just go straight to what we have for today. So for those joining in for the first time, we will say the training transfer effectiveness journey begins for you. However, if you've been joining in before today, just like Nancy, we will say the training transfer effectiveness journey continues. And for those that will be watching this video, because we get people that tend to watch the video afterwards. I have someone from Ghana, Eric, that's watched all the whole videos. So in case you be watching the video, and maybe this is your first time of watching the video, we say the training transfer effectiveness journey begins for you. However, if you've been watching the videos and you're going to watch today's one, we say the training transfer effectiveness journey continues for you. I see something on the chat box. Let me read. Okay, Nancy. Yes, Nancy. Nancy is joining from Kenya. She works in the aviation industry as a human capital manager. Nancy, your third time. And yes, I said you've joined us twice. So this is your third time. Welcome, Nancy. It's great having you. So today, what are we going to be looking at today? Now, for those that are joining in for the first time, either watching this video or seeing the video for the first time, the training transfer effectiveness is a movement which started in Lagos, Nigeria. And what we are trying to do is eradicate training scrap in organizations, all African organizations. And if when we're able to conquer Africa, then we can go beyond Africa. However, we are starting with Africa. And what is training scrap? You're going to see it because that's what I'm going to talk about today. And that's what this movement is all about. And we started this webinar January 2025. And we've run this webinar for over a year now. We're in our second year running this webinar. It's a free webinar, which we give people an opportunity. That's our own way of ensuring that what we are trying to do, we are able to achieve it through the webinar. And so today we decide we're going to be looking at why great training still fails, the missing decisions that determine impact. You see people that go to I think there was somebody, an HR leader I was speaking to, is in Lagos, Nigeria here, and he said his MD was asking him that the people they sent to Harvard for training, what was the return on investment? And these are senior executives. So they sent like over 4 to 5 people. Harvard, to go to Harvard, the executive program in Harvard, one person can be up to $60,000. Do that mathematics. $60,000 times 4, or let's say times 5, that's $300,000. Convert it in Kenya in your what's the money? What's your money in Kenya? I know Ghana is shillings, Nigeria is naira, Rwanda francs is Rwanda. For Kenya, what's your currency? What's it called? So multiply that by what is the rate of dollar in your currency now, and you will know that's how much. In Nigeria, it's about 480 million naira. And that went to training scrap. That went to scrap, wasted money. So today we're looking at why do great training still fail? Why? You send people on Harvard, you send people on Stanford, you send people to LSE, you send people to great institutions, you even get great institutions to train your staff. Yet at the end, the training still fails. Why does it still fail? So we're going to be looking at those missing decisions that determine impact. There are five. I think today we'll do just three, and next week we'll complete with the remaining two. I see something in the chat box. Okay, and I see somebody. Okay, Chrissy, say hi. Chrissy from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm an HR officer joining second time. Yeah, Chrissy, glad to be here to learn more on training effectiveness. Yes, we are glad to have you, Christy. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And these are our objectives. I want you to choose your trophy because you're going out of this webinar with a trophy, a winning mindset. You are a winner as an HR officer, as an HR manager, as an L&D officer, an L&D manager, a director of HR, director of L&D, whichever role you are, HR or L&D, or even a trainer, you're going away with your trophy. So please pick one trophy. Because at the end of this webinar, you're going away with a trophy. So by the end of this webinar, this is what we want to do. You'll be able to do the following. One, explain why great training still fails. Why do you send people on training and yet it still fails? Why? Secondly, define what it truly means for training to fail. When we say a training has failed, what does it mean? You should be able to define that. Three, identify, since I'm going to give you three, we have five decisions, missing decisions. However, I'm going to give you three in this webinar. Next week, we'll complete the remaining two. So out of that three, at least you should be able to identify at least one missing decision that determine impact. So these are the objectives of this webinar. How are we going to achieve these objectives? Our roadmap. Introduction about what it means for why good training will fail. We'll talk about that through Q&A. And at the end, which is what we do every webinar, you take your next line of action that this is what you want to either stop doing, start doing, or continue doing. This is very critical. So I'm going to give us time to do this. This is very critical. I always start with this. Difficult roads leads to beautiful destination. In Kenya now, it is 9:23 p.m. In Nigeria, it's 7:23 p.m. In Rwanda, it's 8:23 p.m. In Ghana, it's 6:23 p.m. Yet you are here, especially those in Nairobi. I doff my cap for you. This is 9:23 p.m. and you're here because you want to learn. So it's what it is because you want to learn. That's why you are here. And it's difficult because some of you are just coming back from work. You've not read or you've rested and you should be going to bed, but you said, I want to be here because I want to learn. So difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. And the beautiful destination is what you achieve from joining this webinar. So this is something we do every Thursday because of the newbies we have amongst us. I'm sure, I don't know Esther and Derry too, if she's a newbie. Njega, I'm just hearing Njega. I don't know if Njega is a newbie. So we tell you what training transfer effectiveness is so that you don't feel lost when you are here because this is building on everything we've been teaching since last year. And so if you want to learn more, I will encourage you to go to our YouTube and watch our YouTube. We watch the videos on our YouTube. So what exactly is training transfer effectiveness? So we'll start with what training effectiveness is, training transfer, then where we are leading you to training transfer effectiveness. So the first is what? Training effectiveness. The second is training transfer. The third is training transfer effectiveness, which is where we are leading you to. Okay, Esther says this is her second time. Welcome, Esther. So glad to have you here. Great. So what exactly is training effectiveness? Is the extent to which your training is successful in producing the desired result. And I'll always use the example. You send people on customer service training. At the end of the training, you want them to score 90%. And they score 90, some score 95, some score 100 after the post-assessment. The second thing, the learning objective, again, you want them to be able to use the format in welcoming customers that you will teach them and you ask them, they do it, they do a role play and they're able to use it. Your training has been effective because it has achieved the objective, the learning objective for that training. It is effective. That's what training effectiveness is. Now, what is training transfer? Training transfer is those things they've learned, they were able to apply it when they get back to the business, when they get back to the organization. Those knowledge they got, those skills they got, they went back to the organization and they were able to apply it. they demonstrated the desired behavior. So from the knowledge, you expect them to be able to say what customer service, define what customer service is, and they go back and they're able to define it. As training transfer has happened, those skills you taught them how to use the format, they go back to the organization, they're able to use the format in welcoming people. Yes, so training transfers are called. However, what we find out is that people use the skill or in knowledge they gain from training 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, doesn't mean that there will be a return on investment or return on expectation. What determines a return on investment, impact, and return on expectation is when it is consistently used. It is done consistently, and there are structures to ensure that it's being done consistently, and there are structures to monitor it and to evaluate it. That is what will give you impact, return on expectation, and return on investment. And so stopping our training transfer is not okay for us. And that's why we move to training transfer effectiveness. So it's the extent to which those knowledge and skills that they learned on the training, they are consistently, you can see the word is in contra B, consistently applied on the job, not once and they stop. Consistently applied on the job. And when they apply this consistently, you are able to see measurable performance improvement, not just performance improvement. You can measure it and you can say they were at a 20 before they went on the training. When they came back from the training, they're on a 40. And so you can measure. You can see the improved performance. They were doing 20. Now, after the training, 1 month down the line, 2 months down the line, they are doing 40. You can measure that. You can see the improved performance, right? And what does none that happens to the business as a result of that improved performance, which is impact? Maybe sales increased, right? That is impact because of what they are doing. The sales increased. They were able to close better deals because they were able to gain more customers and sales increased. That's impact. Or customer complaints dropped. That's impact. Or so I'm thinking of various metrics depending on your organization, what metric you're measuring on. Or attrition rate reduced. So whatever metric you're measuring on, and there was a change in that metric. That is what we call business impact. There was an impact. There was an impact. Now, if you don't have business impact, you cannot have return on expectation and return on investment. Quote me anywhere. But when there's an impact, you can be able to what? Prove return on expectation and return on investment, right? And for you to get an impact, there must be consistently, it must be consistently applied on the job. There must be a performance improvement for you to gain impact. If people don't do what they're supposed to do, they're on a 20, they can't get to a 40. Unless they do something differently, then they can get to a 40. And so that is what training transfer effectiveness is. You have to put structures in place intentionally. You need to put structures in place and you need to sustain it over time. Structures in place to sustain, to ensure people keep applying this over time. So that is exactly what training transfer effectiveness is. So let's move on to what we have today. Before we move on to what we have today, we usually ask, for those that were here last week, what did you do different from last week Thursday to this Thursday? From what you learned, what was the different thing you did from what you learned? Who wants to go? If you're here last week, who wants to go? Who wants to try? Or even if you're not here last 2 weeks, what have you done since? Remember, this webinar is an application webinar. And when I say application webinar, meaning whatever you learn from here, you should be doing something different. You really be wasting your time, wasting my time, wasting your effort, wasting my effort. If you keep coming here and nothing changes, nothing is improved in what you're doing. So is there anybody that wants to share with us since you've been coming? Christy, you've come like this is your third time. So the 2 times you've come, Nancy says she has come. This is the third time coming. So what have you learned? What have you been able to, what improvement have you seen in your workplace or in what you're doing? So let me hear from you, Christy, Nancy, Esther. Anyone can go. You can type into chat if you don't want to unmute your microphone and speak. You can type into chat. I'll read it. Who would like to go? Who wants to break the ice? Who is willing to go? Are you shy? You don't need to be shy. This is a safe space where for us to discuss, for you to get to where you want to go to. Okay, let me believe that you will type it in. Because if you're not doing something different in the webinars you've been attending, something different might just be you talk to somebody to join the webinar because it will help the person. Something different might just be you watched the webinar, another of the series of the webinar on our YouTube. Something different will be you read the book on return on investment, or you purchased a book. You need to take a step. You need to do something. Take a step. You need to take a step. That's the essence of this webinar. Something different has to happen with all the things we talk about and we've been saying in your workplaces, in your life, in what you're doing. Okay, so let me go to what we have today. The hard reality. Don't forget what we are saying. When good training fails, good training. You have great training, you attended, your people send people on great training, and yet at the end, the training still failed. That's what we're looking at. So, what's the hard reality? Great training does not fail because the training is poor. I don't know if you agree with me. Most often, great training does not fail because the training is poor. True or false? You can type into chat. I hope we are here together. True or false? Great training does not fail because training is poor. Why does great training fail? Great training fails because decisions made around the training are wrong. Yeah? That's why great training fails. The decision made around the training are wrong. And we're going to be looking at those decisions. People who are supposed to go for training are not the ones that were sent on training. They sent people that are not supposed to go for training. Apart from that, people that are not supposed to be in that classroom are the people in the classroom. The not confirming if training is really the solution because someone says there's a performance gap and you send the person on training. So these are decisions made around training. So most often, great training fails because decisions made around the training are wrong. And so we are looking at what are those missing decisions? What are those decisions you should take as HR, as an L&D officer, as an HR manager, as an L&D manager, as an L&D officer? What are those decisions you should take? So that's what we are looking at. We are going to be looking at those decisions you should take. I want to introduce you to something. It's called training scrap. Training scrap. What is training scrap? I coined that term training scrap. I coined it from learning scrap. So we have scrap learning and we have learning scrap. Scrap learning. Okay, I can see Nancy has typed in something. Let's read what she typed in. I've been working towards ensuring that staff are aware they are accountable, aware they are accountable, RI on training and not a tick boss and being away from the workstation. Wow, well done, Nancy. Well done. That's a good one. Well done. Keep it up. And if you need help, just give us a shout out and let us know. Okay, now we have what we call scrap learning and we have what we call learning scrap. Scrap learning, I can't remember the name of the guy that coined scrap learning, but I think his name is something like Robert or so. So I will find that I always knew his name, but kind of I forgot his name. However, I can remember the person that told us learning scrap, that coined the term learning scrap. His name is Roy Pollocks. Roy, ROY POLLOCKS. He's one that coined learning scrap. And he says that amount of learning that is not applied. Now, from scrap learning and from learning scrap, I decided to coin training scrap. Why? Because I talk more about training. Everything we've been doing and the next 5 years we'll be doing is around training. And so I coined the term training scrap. And so training scrap is a portion of training that is delivered and not applied on the job. What is scrap? Scrap is wastage. If you're a manufacturer or you know about the manufacturing company, When the things they don't use, you see where they dump it. They just dump it. Maybe they are using manufacturing of cars, and the things they could not couple, or something that spoiled, they did not use. They throw it away. It becomes a wastage, waste of money. So that learning scrap, training scrap, and scrap learning is gotten from the manufacturing company. The name was gotten from the very first person that coined it, got it from the manufacturing company. So I coined my training scrap. So it's that amount of learning, the position, that amount, that portion of training that is delivered and not applied on the job. So I want you to think, in your organization, how are you creating training scrap in your organization? All the training you ran last year. Let me even ask. It's just that you are not answering my questions. Maybe you're doing other things and decided to listen in. If not, we would have a conversation. So let me ask, or those that may be watching, what is the portion of the training you ran in 2025? What portion of it was training scrap? If there's anybody here on call that want to answer, that would be nice. You can put it into chat. I'll read it. If not, not a problem. I'm asking that question. So those I'll be watching it. Think about it. The training you ran last year, what portion of it was training scrap? And training scrap is the portion of training that is delivered and not applied. What percentage? All the training you ran last year was 100%. So what percentage will you tie to training scrap? Those training that were ran that were not applied, what percentage? Certificate is not equal to impact. That you give people a certificate after training doesn't mean that there will be an impact. Attendance does not mean you will get return on investment. That people attended the training and they said the training was wonderful, it was super duper, doesn't mean you will see return on investment. Feedback is not equal to business results. That people gave you a feedback and said, hey child, this is the best training we've had since I joined this organization. And so what? Will that change the result of the business results of your organization, of the business? Will that? And this is what I usually say. If it's not applied, it is not worth it. If you don't apply, your people don't apply the knowledge and the skills they gain for training, it's not worth it. You're wasting money. Why waste money? Why don't you just save that money for the company? So make a decision today that if my people will not apply, I will not see application of what they are learning, of the training they are going to, then we will not run that training again. Make it make it a point, make it a rule. So work towards application. Let people apply, because as they apply, there will be impact. You saw what I told you in training transfer effectiveness. As there's application, there will be impact. Because there's impact, you see ROE, you see ROI. Okay. And this is what training scrap is. Okay, I seen Esther. Esther said something on. Let me read what Esther said. Esther said, I attended a few training sessions last year, and I must confess, I've not started applying what I learned. Esther, I'm sending you. Let me send you a kiss, please. I need to send you. This is being vulnerable and this is being truthful. I'm sending you a love. Yeah, I'm sending that to you. Thank you so much for being vulnerable, being truthful, and being transparent. She said, I've not started applying it. Yeah. Why? Because it was not designed before Esther went for that training. It wasn't designed before she went on that training. If the training was designed in the way that Esther would be able to apply it, then Esther would not, nothing should stop Esther from applying it. But that's what we see, right? Is that not what we see? And it's not going to stop until people start doing something different. If not, it will continue to be the same thing. So let me use my pointer, my virtual pointer. C is okay. No, I'm not going to use Esther as an example. So let me use whoever it is that is listening to me as an example. You ran 100% training in your organization, right? Which is last year. So from January to December 2025, 100%. Maybe you ran 50 training, that's 100%. Or maybe you ran 150 training, that's 100%. You mark it up to 100. Maybe you ran 350 trainings, you mark it up to what? 100%. Now, out of that 100% training that was run last year in 2025, see what was applied. See, 30%. Now, the difference between 30 and 100, you can see the difference. You can see the gap. The gap there is what? 70. That's what the gap is. The gap is what? 70. And that gap that is 70 is what? Is known as what? It's known as training scrap. That is what it is. It is training scrap. Can you see? Waste. Your organization spent like, I was asking you people, in short, let me check my phone. What is the amount, what is your currency in Kenya? Because most of you are from Kenya, so I would like to know. If you cannot tell me, no problem. I'll just check my phone. I can't remember. I don't know why I should forget it. What is the currency for Kenya? Let me just what is Kenya? What is Kenya's currency called? Okay, saying Kenya shilling. I thought that shilling was Ghana. Okay, it's saying what is Kenya's? It's a Kenya shilling. It's called shilling. Yeah. Then Ghana is what? Okay, so it's Kenya shilling. So then that means what is Ghana's currency called? I thought then I missed that. Oh, cedis. Okay, okay, good, good. So Kenya is shilling and Ghana is cedis. Good. So you can imagine you spent 1 million Kenya shilling to run training last year, 2025. And out of that 1 million Kenya shillings you spent, you got only 300,000 Kenya shilling. That means 700,000 Kenyan shilling was a waste. Was a waste. That is what we call training scrap. So the high time you start working to ensure you don't have training scrap, the better for you. One day, your management will wake up and it will be a problem. And they will tell you, show me the return on investment for all the training you've been doing. So before we go any further, let's pause. I want us to pause. Let's pause now and let's define something clearly. So when you say that training failed, what do we mean? I want us to define it so we can all be on the same page. And with that, we can move further. When we say a training has failed, what do we mean? You can type into chat box. Those that are watching this video, I will pause and allow you to think before I say it. When you say training has failed, what do you mean? Why am I allowing you to think? Let me tell you this. Because the truth is, many organizations use this statement loosely. Oh, our training failed. Oh, our training failed. They use it, but they don't even know the extent or the fullness of what they are saying. And it will create ambiguity. And that's why I want us to be very clear on that without creating any ambiguity. When you say a training has failed, what do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, I can see somebody. Esther says something. Esther says, there's no impact within the organization after the training. Okay. Thank you, Esther. That's Esther's own opinion. Great. Any other person? Because why allow you to keep thinking? I want to know your own opinion. What are your thoughts? What do you say? And I'm going to share with you. Esther says when there's no impact. Thank you so much for that, Esther. That's powerful. Because if you're serious about impact, you're serious about return on expectation, you're serious about return on investment, then you must be able to explain what you mean by this training has failed. You must remove the vagueness, the vague interpretation, the ambiguity, because I'm going to show you what a lot of people mean. When they say a training has failed, what they mean. I'm going to show it to you. So this is what some people say that training has failed. When their participant did not like the training, they say, wow, that training organization, they don't know what they are doing. See, the participant did not like the training, that this is a failed training. Some say when their participant did not enjoy what the trainer was doing, it's a failed training. Some say when their participant did not score well in the post assessment, it's a failed training. But I agree with what Esther said. When participants go back to work and nothing changes consistently, then That is what we call a failed training, just like what Esther said. Not these other ones. That's not what qualifies a training failed. But when participants go back to work and nothing consistently changed, I hear Nancy. Nancy says, skills and performance gap remains the same or worsen even after the training. And it's the truth, Nancy. Right? Some persons go for training. And when they come back, they are worse off than when they went for the training. And you're like, what happened? Oh, Bobs, what happened? Yeah, that's failed training. So we're going to agree today in this webinar, even those that'll be watching this webinar, this is our definition of a failed training. And if you can, write it down. The training has failed when the knowledge, and this is what Esther and Nancy have said. A training has failed when the knowledge and skills gained are not consistently applied on the job in a way that produces measurable improvement in performance and business results. That is when we can say a training has failed. When the knowledge and the skills gained are not consistently applied on the job in a way that produces measurable improvement in performance and business results. You may not even say the training has failed like a week or so before the training has ended. If you've defined what you're supposed to say, see, like return on investment takes like 4 to 6 months before you see ROI. Yeah, I see something in the chat box. 4 to 6 months when for you to see ROI. But for you to see ROI, there might be things that have been changing. The application is being done. You're seeing that. You're seeing that they are applying what they should be applying. You're seeing impact happening. So most often, because ROI is figures, figures. Figures, that's what ROI is, money. ROI is money. So we spent 1 million for training, and after the training, we got 5 million. So that is we gained. We had a positive ROI figures. Why sometimes, let me not go into that so I don't confuse you. I think I need to find a time to teach about ROI and ROE. Yeah, that I did it last year. Maybe I'll do it again. I see something on the chat box. When the status quo remains, no impact. Yes, Christy, Nabisere. Yes, you're correct. No impact. Yes. So we've agreed that this is our definition of when a training has failed. So anything else is not failure, it's just feedback. So every other thing here, apart from this 4th bullet point, every other thing here, 1, 2, 3, apart from this 4th bullet point is feedback, not failure. Is feedback, not failure. Every other thing is feedback and not failure, right? Okay, let's move ahead. And this is exactly why great training fails, because organizations celebrate attendance. Yeah, they celebrate satisfaction, but they do not design for application. And that's why, Esther, you were unable to apply what you learned last year, even up till now, because that training was not designed for application. It was like, it's your turn to go for training. You need this training. Not just saying the person needs the training. Do you design it that the person, when the person comes back, the person will be able to apply it back on the job, will be able to do those things on the job? Did you design it that way? So with this clarity, let us go deeper. Let's go deeper now. What failed training looks like. I'm going to show you what failed training looks like. Can you see the change? Can you see before trainings? Just look at this dashboard. This was their quarterly KPI dashboard. Before training, it was 44%. It was 44, 16, and 4,550. Start training, 3 months. This is before training. So look, 3 months later, after training, what has happened? It's still on 44. It's still on 16. It's still on 5,550. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And this is what? Failed training. Failed training. And so I'm going to take, I thought I was going to do three of the decisions, but I'm looking at my time. We have just 10 minutes because I want you to give me what you're taking away with you. So I'm just going to do maybe one of it and we'll continue from next week. So these are the 5 missing decisions that determine impact. The 5 missing decisions that determine impact. Don't forget what we are looking at today is why great training fails. the missing decisions that determine impact. That's what we're looking at. Why great training fails. The missing decisions that determine impact. So these are the missing decisions that determine impact. If I were you, get your biro and paper and write. Note it down so that you don't make the same mistake. From today, you stop making it. The first question I ask, is training truly the right solution? Sometimes training is not the right solution to that performance need, to that performance gap, to that performance issue, but yet you send them on training. That training is going to fail. Sometimes, most times, not sometimes, people don't know what they will measure. Neither do they know when to measure. Most times. People do HR, L&D, the line managers, even the trainees, they don't know what must change on their job. They don't know. That training is going to fail. They don't even know what will stop me from applying. Because if you don't know what to stop you from applying, you cannot prevent it from stopping you. It's when you know what to stop you, you're able to prevent it. And that's why that training you're sending your people or you're attending will fail. Some people, you don't talk about who will support me to ensure that I apply it. Who will support me? You don't talk about the support, that training will fail. It's already failed on arrival. It's already failed before it even arrived. So if these decisions are not made upfront, even the best trainer will become a motivational speaker. I am not a motivational speaker, by the way. No, I don't motivate people. I'm not a motivational speaker. I say what it is. I give you facts. I give you data. I'm not a motivational speaker. So if these decisions of those things I showed you and the 5 decisions we're going to be looking at now, if they are not decided, these decisions are not taken upfront, quote me anywhere, even the best trainer will become a motivational speaker. So now let's look at the 5 missing decisions. And I think we'll end here and take questions. So these are the 5 missing decisions. Decision 1, this is decision 1. It's called perception decision. How do people perceive training? Maybe we'll end with it. Let me stop at 5 minutes before time and not take questions. Decision 1 is how do people perceive training? Decision 2 is intervention decision. What kind of intervention are you giving for that? Is training really the true intervention for that performance gap, for that performance need, for that performance issue? What type of intervention decision are you taking? The third one, decision 3, is called design decision. Just like we talked about Esther. Have you designed the training to ensure that there will be transfer, there will be application? Transfer is application. They are the same thing. Have you designed training to ensure you see transfer? Now, there are 3 phases of training. We have pre-training, during training, and post-training. Have you designed that training to cover these 3 phases? Most organizations design training to cover only the second phase, which is the during phase. The 4th decision is called the ownership decision. Who owns the transfer after training? Who owns it? Most of people say it's HR and L&D. Today, I'm busting your bubble. No. HR and L&D is not the only person that owns transfer. HR has a bit of it. Everyone owns transfer. The trainee, the line manager, most especially the line manager, the stakeholders, the executive management, the trainer themselves. Everyone has a part to play. Everyone has a part to play. HR, stop taking the ownership of transfer upon your head. L&D, stop it. No. Everyone has their role to play. Let people start playing their role. Then the last missing decision is what we call the measurement decision. What will we measure and when? A lot of HR and L&D people don't even know what to measure, and they don't even know when to measure. You need to know what to measure and when to measure. We have what we call level 1 measurement, level 1 data, level 2 data, level 3 data, level 4 data, level 5 data. You need to know when to collect level 1 data, level 2. You need to know when to collect this data. You need to know when to do it. So these are the 5 missing decisions that determine if your training will have an impact or not. So let's quickly look at the first one and we'll wrap up with that. Next week, we'll look at the remaining. The first one, the perception decision. Let me ask a question. How is training perceived in your organization? Please, this one you have to answer. Type into chat. How is training perceived in your various organizations? I'll end with there because you just need to type into chat. How is training perceived in your organizations? And we'll continue for them from there next week. So let me stop sharing. Let me wait for you. So how is training perceived in your organizations, in your various organizations? Who wants to share with us? How is training perceived in your various organizations? You can type into chat. I'll be looking at the chat box. How is training perceived in your various organizations? Who wants to share? Type into chat box and I'll read it. How is training perceived? Is there anybody that wants to share with us how training is perceived? How is training perceived in your various organizations? Anybody? Okay, there's nobody. Okay, if nobody wants to share, let me wrap up with this. Nobody wants to share. Let me wrap up with this. But it would have been nice to know how training is perceived in your organization because that will say a whole lot and tell you what you need to start doing. Okay, I can see somebody. What you need to start doing. I can see something in the chat box. It is not taken seriously. Esther says it is not taken seriously, and some leaders treat it as a waste of company resources. Ah, Esther, you've killed me. You've shot me with a gun. I'm dead. Please, someone should wake me up. Someone should wake me up, please. I'm dead. Can you imagine? They take training as a waste of company resources. What do you think? You will never see impact or return on investment, return on expectation. Why? Esther, do you want to share with us why? Why do they do that? Why don't they take training seriously? And why do some leaders treat it as a waste of company resources? Christy says it's taken as an activity or as a KPI to address. Christine, that's what Christine said. Can you imagine? My heart is breaking. Really? That means there's so much work to be done. We need to change this narrative. My heart is breaking seriously. I wish you could just see my heart is breaking seriously. Now, let me ask Christine and Esther, do you mind typing, why is it taken like that? Christine, why is it taken as an activity? Nancy said, waste of finances, and for the regulatory training, it is a tick a box. Oh, no. Oh, I'm not supposed to cry on on a recorded um on a recording because people will see it. This is very painful. This is very painful. So what can we do? Something has to be done. And you need to join the training transfer effectiveness movement, unless you're okay with it. And if you're okay with it, that's fine. But if you're sure you're not okay with it, drop your numbers. Let's reach out to you. We've created a every day we created a community, and the community is whereby nobody you cannot post anything there because people are in so many WhatsApp. We don't want anybody to come post anything. Every day you're going to be receiving shifts, things for you to do to help change that narrative around about training in your organization. Then when you're able to save enough money, you can come and now learn how to go about it. But now start with this little shift. Every day we are given different video shifts, different videos recording, telling you do these little things you can do, little. It said little drops of water make an ocean. So just those little drops of water, you get it from that WhatsApp group. It's only admins that can post it. Nobody can post it. So don't be scared of. A lot of people are tired of joining WhatsApp group because they are seeing so many things. That's not this. This is not like that. It's only the admins that can post, and what they post is everything that is going to help you to be an HR and L&D that can correct the narrative of training in your organization, in the business, to correct it. Welcome, Thomas. I see you've dropped your number. Yes, you'll be added to correct it. So that's what it is. Okay, I see something on the chat box. Esther says, I think it's because leaders expect staff to be well versed in their areas of work. So it is not their responsibility to upskill the employees. Can you imagine? That's a big problem. I hope you know that, Esther. That's a big problem. Your leaders, they need reorientation. They need what? Reorientation. That's a very big problem. Really, it is. And I'm not joking. Really, it's a big problem already. But you can do something about it. But my question to you, Esther, are you ready and willing to do something? You can do something. You can make a change, no matter how little it is. Are you ready and willing to do the little you can? Thomas says managers are not ready to learn something new. Also, what I'm saying to Esther, Thomas, I'm saying it to you. You can do something, no matter how little. Are you ready? The ball is in your court. That's what I always say. And so I end up by saying, old ways won't open new doors. You have to do something. Old ways won't open new doors. Never. Never has old ways opened. Old ways will keep opening old doors. What will open new doors is what? New ways. New ways is what will open new doors. And I end by saying, training succeeds or fails based on the decisions made before, during, and after the training, not the quality of the slides. And that's a quote by me. So do you need help? Let us talk about how we can help you to build or repair your ecosystem. Join our mastermind program cohort 2. It's starting March 2nd. And we also have cohort 3, 4, and 5 in case you're not able to make cohort 2. Invite me to speak with your leadership team. Reach out. Let us stop training for the sake of training. Let us build for transfer. Let us build for transformation. And this is the mastermind program. It's a 14 weeks program. Okay, I see someone on the chat box says, Christine said, yes, me, I'm ready. I want to be part of the change. Add me to the training movement. Great. So drop your phone number and we will add you. Just drop your phone number. Also drop your email address. We'll add you to it. So this is the mastermind. And welcome on board. Let me welcome you. Let's welcome you. Yeah, this is welcome. We're welcoming you. Welcome. Welcome to the train. So it's a 14 weeks journey to help you to transform your role from an HR or L&D professional to a strategic business partner. These are the benefits. You'll be able to demonstrate ROI and ROE for your training. You'll be able to engage stakeholders, be able to position yourself as a strategic leader, not just an HR professional, L&D professional, a training facilitator. You'll be able to do that. And last but not the least, we have our conference coming up November 12th and 13th this year in Lagos, Nigeria. Make sure you don't miss this conference. This is the second one. We started it last year. It's the first conference ever on training transfer effectiveness. It's never been done in Africa. It's never been done globally. Nowhere. We started it last year in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are setting the standard. We are raising the bar. So this year's one is on technology, practice, and impact. We're going to feature practical sessions, mini workshops, networking, international certifications, Q&A with training transfer effectiveness experts. So ensure you join and join the early bird as soon as you can. The early bird, it will end in June. It's a hybrid training. So if you don't want to come all the way from Nigeria, you can join virtually. So for those of you in Kenya, you can join virtually. So what are the questions you may have for me at this point in time? Okay, I see Christine, you have I think it was Christine that put her number. Or Esther, I said someone that added a number. Okay, Christian, your number and your email. Great. We've seen it. We'll take note. What are the questions you may have for me? Do you have questions? Questions? We are wrapping up. Questions? Observations? Comments?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, Thomas. Okay, please go ahead.
You said something. Old ways don't open new ways.
New door.
There's something I discovered that people find it very difficult to adapt to change because when you don't want to embrace new ways, there's no you will still remain in the old way. So people find it very difficult to transit to the new way. So they rather remain in that old format. That's the problem we are having with most managers. because they want you to perform the magic, but they are not giving you the platform for you to go ahead and develop yourself. But even when you develop yourself, they will not allow you to apply that because they feel that you are wasting their time because they've given them targets.
Yeah.
So in a situation like this, it becomes delay to them. By the time you are beginning to practice something new, it will delay the process. So they don't look at that. They want, okay, let's continue the way we are doing it before to achieve result. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I hear you quite loud and clear, Thomas. And that's why the mastermind is for decision makers. It's for HR directors, L&D directors, HR managers, L&D managers, those that can take those decisions. Because if excuse me, if your line manager is not ready to change, you cannot change him. Cannot force him or her to change. That's their mindset. They don't want to. However, unless you want to retire in that organization, unless you want to continue to be there, what can you do for yourself? And that's what Stevie Covey will say. Why would I forget this now? There's something Stevie Covey says, the first habits of seven highly effective people. He calls the circle of concern and circle of influence. Circle of concern and circle of influence. Circle of concern means you don't have any power over it. He's your manager, he's your supervisor. You can't do anything about him. You can't do anything. It's a circle of concern. But Stevie Covey says, work on your circle of influence. Circle of influence is what you have the power to change. And what you can do is to upgrade yourself and become the best you can. Because one day you will leave that place. I've been in such situation when I was working as an employee. And the ideas I was bringing in, they felt that I know too much over Sabi and Amibo woman. Most of them were Yorubas. Amibo, over Sabi woman. You want to do this. You want to shine. This is the come. I just continued doing what I was doing, but I wasn't sharing. If I want to share this, complain this, that, until the day I left that. And that was what got me to where I was going to. I was picked out and I left that. I did not leave the organization. I left that branch of that organization. It's one of the banks. I'm not going to mention the bank. I left and they transferred me to the head office. And my branch manager wanted to die. He said, I've gone around to Politica. Da, 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 da. I didn't even answer her. Everything, all the things I was bringing, I think you felt I was doing over Sabi. Now they've moved me. HR has seen my what? They've seen and they moved me to head office. You're now saying I went to do politics. There are people that don't want you to succeed. There are people that when you succeed, anything you do, it is a problem for them. Your line manager, some of them are like that. So are you going to allow them to put you where they are? There are some people that don't want to grow. They want to stay in their ignorance. No, I'm not like that. If you don't want to grow, I would learn and move away from my ignorance, because one day my light will shine, someone will take me up. And that's how they took me away from that branch. And they took me to HR. So I was now in charge. In charge in HR. So that is life for you. You have to make your choice. Do you want to allow your line manager to dictate who you will be, or will you go for your own? Don't wait for the organization. Don't wait for anybody. Grow yourself, learn, become who you want to be. Where I am today, it was no organization that did it for me. I did it myself. I grew myself. And I made it a choice. It was a personal choice. Everything I know today, no organization gave it to me, because everywhere I was like a threat. I had to teach myself and I had to do all the things I'm doing. So it is your choice, right? Okay, so if there are no questions, thank you for your contribution, Thomas. We need to wrap up now. What is your plan? Quickly, somebody should tell me, what from everything you've learned today, what will be your next line of action? From everything you've learned today, what will be your next line of action? Who wants to share? What will be your next line of action? From everything you've learned today, what will be your next line of action? Anybody? Okay, time is going. If you don't have next line of action, I hope you have a next line of action. I need to move on. Okay, I think I can see somebody. Okay, is there anything? Okay, no, nothing. Okay. No more excuses. You want to make it in life? No more excuses. Success doesn't come cheap. It comes with hard work. Are you willing to pay the price for success? The choice is yours now. What will it be? It is your choice. Finally, be happy and feel good about yourself always. Thank you. I remain the Oracle. And this, you can follow me on social media, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm hardly there though. You can follow me there. And this is the email you can send to me. So thank you so much, everyone. Let me stop sharing. And I saw something on the chat box. Somebody else sent something. Okay, it's still the same thing. Okay. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much, everyone. So I'll say I'll stop the recording now. I wish you a good night rest, a wonderful weekend. I look forward to seeing you again, same time next week. Please come with somebody. Start telling people, publicize this, let people know about us. Let's start this movement, right? Let's start this movement. Drop your number if you've not dropped your number. Drop your email address and we'll get back to you. Good night, everyone. Bye.